church is in ruins! Who is behind this blasphemy?
Hello, I am. It was me.
By the goddess! I've seen her face before! It's the wretched Scarlet!
Appears you've been subject to some terrible misfortune.
Misfortune that you caused!
You dare to dump your garbage into our holy sanctuary? You must pay! I summon thee!
I tire of this conversation.
Although this latest episode of May I Ask for One Final Thing seems like it might just be there to deliver on the traditional anime fare of let's go to a festival and just all of the sweet little tropes that come with that, and it might seem like there's not a whole lot happening. Sure, we got a little bit of fighting there at the beginning. It's very easy to write this episode off as probably the most boring in the series thus far, and yet, oh, this episode has been laying some fantastic groundwork for things to come. Once again, we get an episode that slows things down in order to set up all of the great action that is coming down the line. So, without any further ado, let's dive into review and analysis for May I Ask for One Final Thing, Episode 7. Brought to you by Camille's Harem, a channel for novice authors, by novice authors, because writing is an adventure, it's way more fun with friends. Now, in this episode, we pick up right where we left off with Scarlet taking the fight right back to the Palmian worshippers who have disrupted the beautiful pilgrimage of the people who worship the Saintess Diana. And, she wrecks an entire cathedral. She beats up yet another Inquisitor, basically in one go. Saitama is so proud of her at this moment. And, I mean, that holy war really didn't last very long, what she started in the previous episode. But once Scarlet has absolutely wiped the floor with all of these goons, and peace has been restored to the holy city of Rome, or the holy capital, wherever this city is in this fantasy world, we may continue on with the pilgrimage. But the very important thing that must be noted is that Leonardo, and I realized I called him Theodore in the previous video. Oops. Leonardo, Scarlet's older brother, steps right in to save the Saintess Diana during all of the commotion that goes on during Scarlet's very brief holy war, immediately causing the young Saintess to fall in love with him. She is absolutely love-stricken, and Scarlet's like, yes, beautiful, a chance for me to play matchmaker for my older brother. And so she conspires with Diana in order to facilitate a date for the two of them when they are at the festival in Memphis. Not Memphis, Tennessee, Memphis, Japan, or fantasy Japanese Memphis, again in this fantasy world. I love how some of the names for these cities just kind of come on out of the blue. But hey, Memphis, or might this be Memphis, Egypt? That's another good question. Anyways, moving on. Leonardo and Saintess Diana go on a very sweet date where he is the perfect gentleman, and we get some very interesting stuff from Saintess Diana. There's this really meaningful scene where the two of them go scooping up little goldfish. Woohoo! Another traditional anime trope, and yet something that I thought was really good, and you'll see why this is important later on, is that they have a conversation about getting this fish. And it might seem like it's really simple and frivolous, this conversation over, you know what, I want this little goldfish to go back to her friends, she'll feel better there. We are learning something about Saintess Diana. We're missing the context at the moment, but she feels a certain affinity to this fish, a certain sense of loneliness. And now that we've seen 2 episodes with her in them, I think we can better understand now that, yeah, Saintess Diana feels very isolated from everyone else, and that's a pretty big deal for her. And so this moment of giving up the fish has far more import than we right now probably understand. If you've read ahead in the manga, you definitely know where this is going. But this is a great set-up scene for things that, if you're just an anime only, oh boy, you're going to be taken on a wild ride. But meanwhile, we do get to have some fun with Scarlet and with Prince Julius, who has sped his way through all of his princely duties in order to crash her peaceful night out on the festival. And I love how she's just got all of these goodies and little trinkets that she's gathered on up. And again, you've kind of got this little half date. Julius is obviously taking this as, I get to hang out with the girl I've got a massive crush on. And Scarlet's like, oh my gosh, I'm dealing with the prince who maybe I kind of have feelings for him, but after all the incident in the Rose Garden, yeah, she's definitely giving him a little bit more of the cold shoulder, which again, this is really great continuation of their relationship thus far and the misunderstandings between them. It's great to see that continuity still at play. Now, he teases her about how she should be going out punching out some people, and she's like, I kind of would like to do that, but right now we're at the festival, and oh, look at that, there's some ruffians who are smashing up this guy's pots. May I go beat them up? And of course, we then get some hilarity that ensues.
Thank you for your unyielding generosity.
I just got the chills.
Now, despite all of this cutesy stuff and the little dating that's going on, of course, there are some ominous things happening. What is Lord Dios doing there in these dark back alleys? And on top of that, another Inquisitor has gone out to the Dragon Rider nation of Vakish or Varkish or Valkyrie, something V. Oh boy, again, the names of these places. In any case, one of the Inquisitors has gone to form an alliance with Scarlet and Julius's enemies. Oh my, things are about to get really crazy.
Forgive me for the late introduction, Your Grace. I have traveled far to seek your counsel.
They say the only remedy for stupidity is a swift death.
And I imagined you bringing me to my knees. This wasn't the way. This kingdom of weak aristocrats is unworthy of you, Scarlet.
But perhaps tasting a pain equal to death will cure it all the same.
Now, as a writer, I have to say, I really like the continuity in the relationship between Scarlet and Julius. As someone who wants to see these two characters get together, I understand why we are taking this route, because of who these two characters are. Smushing them together into a lovey-dovey relationship, or a somewhat slightly sister-loving relationship, would be completely incongruent with their characters and their personalities, and their open dispositions towards each other as of this moment. In order to get the two of them together, a lot more needs to happen. A little bit of a softening up on Scarlet's part, and also some easing off the jokingness on Julius's part, and just more honest communication between them. And it's good to see that effort that's put into a romance. It makes it far more believable, and it makes people root for these characters as they slowly grow closer together. And just these fun little half dates that we see them on are great because their chemistry is really good. And sometimes you don't need to shove the steaminess onto the audience. We enjoy just good chemistry between these characters. So take your time and stick to the continuity, stick to the lore of who they are in order to make the most of this potential romance. And that's something that all authors should consider. How quickly do you want to have your couples get together? And as someone who has written his own romances across several books, I can tell you this, it is far more rewarding to put the effort in, not just for the readers, but for the author as well, because you actually get to explore them a whole lot more as individual characters and as a couple, because once you put them together, it's actually ridiculously hard to find good things other than just the ridiculous stuff that other authors lazily jump to, like pregnancy, in order to really encourage them to continue to grow as a couple and as individuals. Which, may I ask for one final thing, is not that kind of story. It would not work, actually, which is why it works, which is why it's even better then to take your time to get these two characters together. And speaking of characters getting together, while I don't know if Leonardo and Diana are going to get together at any certain time, that's actually not what is important with their scenes. What's important is that we get character studies into who Leonardo and into who Diana both are. And this is something that's very, very important when it comes to writing. You can say anything that you want about who your characters are, but until you show us who they are, it won't really stick. And one of the best ways to show who your characters are by exploring the relationships that they have with other characters in your cast. So for instance, when we see Leonardo away from Julius and away from Scarlet, who makes him have a stomach ulcer because of all of just the shenaniganery that she does and how he feels like that's not proper for a lady of her standing, when Leonardo is by himself, away from the pressures of being a nobleman, we see that he is a very courteous guy. We see that there's a reason why Scarlet and Julius venerate him so much, and it's not for his diplomatic skills or his organization skills, but because he's just genuinely a good-hearted person who cares about others and puts their needs before his own. This is a very upstanding gentleman. And with Princess Diana, we kind of at first got that she seems to be maybe a little bit of a spoiled brat or a little bit immature. She definitely looks up to Scarlet. She wants to be a gal with no man. It's how it comes across when we first meet her. But in this newest episode, we get to see a different side of her. We get to see a young girl who is experiencing her first major crush. We also get to see how sensitive she is. We also get to see how vulnerable she is and how she questions her own worth, not just as the saintess, but as a person in general. What we see is someone who's very unsure of themselves, someone who's very anxious, and that is particularly endearing because it's not because she's a pathetic individual, but rather those are qualities that so many of us can in one way or another relate to, and we want to see her overcome those weaknesses to become a stronger and better person. And we would not have gotten any of this information communicated to us in any kind of meaningful way without this date with Leonardo. So again, as a writer, if you really want to show off who your characters are, we need to see them in relationships with others. Now, when I say relationships, I don't always mean romantic. It can very easily be familial, platonic, business, enemies. There are so many different variations of relationships that you can use to explore the different facets and depths of your characters. Make good use of them, because it's through showing your characters in action that we really come to know who they are and to appreciate all of their different values and their strengths and their weaknesses, and that we get to see the full breadth and depth of their personality. Another thing I have to say is this, is that even though this episode is mostly slow with just some random bursts of action at the beginning and kind of in the middle, slightly closer to the end, it is absolutely okay to slow your story down to, once again, do all the proper characterization and the setup, because when we get to know who the characters are, when we get to understand the stakes involved, when we come to better understand the world that they are a part of, we will then better appreciate what is up for grabs and what is up to lose in the conflicts that we know will ensue. We know that this Palmian faith is going to continue to wreck things along the way. We don't yet know how. We know that some sort of battle or war is coming. We know that betrayals are about to happen. Woohoo! But you know what? All of that politicking, all of that big world stuff doesn't matter unless we really come to understand these characters and why these bigger events would matter to them personally and then to the world as a whole. These slower episodes help us to really understand that, and by understanding it, we can appreciate the stuff as it happens, and it will resonate with us more as the story continues. So it is okay to slow down. Take your time to build everything up. Just make sure that you have the proper payoff to that buildup. And that's a bit of a tricky equation. We'll have to see how May I Ask for One Final Thing delivers on that. And so let's put a pin into that, and we can talk about it as the series progresses. So, with all that being said, that is my quick rundown of the events and my analysis review from a writer's perspective of May I Ask for One Final Thing, Episode 7. I really now want to hear your thoughts and commentary on this latest episode in the comments below. Oh, I really am looking forward to that, especially because there's a lot of people who seem to enjoy these videos and really seem to enjoy the show. So when we get that dialogue going, we all learn from it. We all are able to better appreciate this amazing show that we are watching together. And if you would like to support us even further, what we do here at Camille's Harem, please make sure that you like this video, share it on out, subscribe if you haven't already done so, but especially check out the books that we have published. Links for all of them are in the description below. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this incredible adventure that we call writing, even if at times I really have no idea what on earth the names of these various cities or nations are. We will get through this together. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.